If I was starting out as a diesel technician in 2026, knowing what I know now, I would do a lot of things differently. I wouldn't just get a job and hope for the best. I wouldn't buy a giant tool set right away, and I definitely wouldn't overlook electrical, diagnostics, or computers like I did early on. In this video, I'm going to walk you through exactly what I would do step by step if I were brand new to the diesel trade today. Whether you're thinking about getting into diesel, in school right now, or less than 5 years into the trade, this video could save you years of frustration, thousands of dollars, and help you build a career that actually lasts. Because you see, the diesel trade in 2026 is not the same trade it was 10, 20, or even 5 years ago. Yes, you still need to know systems like engines, brakes, suspension, and hydraulics, but today diesel technicians are also expected to understand electrical systems, CAN communication, after treatment, along with diagnostics and software. Modern trucks today are basically rolling computer networks. So if I were starting today, I'd stop thinking of myself as a wrench turner and start thinking of myself as a technician who happens to use tools. That mindset shift alone changes everything because the techs who make the most money in 2026 aren't necessarily the fastest bolt removers, they're the ones who can figure out what's wrong. If I were starting today, I'd be very intentional about how I entered the trade. There are a few options, starting with trade school. Trade school can be great, but only if it has hands on training, it teaches electrical and diagnostics, and it works with real OEM software or scan tools. Now, this is the path I chose over 15 years ago, and it worked great for me. And it was a solid, up to date program. With minimal mechanical knowledge or experience, this is a great path to choose. Option 2 would be apprenticeship. Honestly, if you have some experience and knowledge, this would be my first choice in 2026. A good apprenticeship means you get paid while learning, you see real world failures, and you learn shop culture early. But, this is very important, I'd choose the right shop, not necessarily the first one that hires me. Shops I'd look for might include fleet maintenance, such as trucks, buses, waste, municipal, those kind of fleets, or dealers with training programs, and shops that already invest in scan tools and training. Shops I'd avoid early on would be the figure it out yourself shops, places that only let new guys sweep floors for a year, and shops that don't believe in computers and diagnostics. But what would I focus on learning first? Well, this is where a lot of new techs go wrong. They try to learn everything at once. If I were starting in 2026, I'd focus on four core areas in this exact order. Number one, electrical fundamentals. Electrical knowledge is crucial in this trade. I'd make sure I deeply understand voltage, current, and resistance, series versus parallel circuits, voltage drop testing, along with reading wiring diagrams. If you can do voltage drop testing confidently, you're already ahead of a good portion of the field. I'd also be focusing on number two, diesel engine basics. Before chasing sensors, I'd master the four-stroke diesel cycle, air, fuel compression and timing, fuel injection basics, along with basic engine failures. If you don't understand how the engine is supposed to work, diagnostics becomes guesswork. Number three would be after-treatment systems. In 2026, after-treatment is unavoidable. I'd learn DPF operation, SCR systems, DEF dosing, and how regeneration works. Not just what parts are called, but why the system does what it does. And number four, the process of diagnostics. This is huge. This goes beyond chasing fault codes. I'd learn a diagnostic process such as verifying the complaint, checking the basics, reading data, testing the circuit, and confirming the fix. This skill makes you valuable anywhere. Even as an experienced technician, I still am guilty of occasionally overlooking some of the basics when performing diagnostics. Sticking to this process every time is crucial. But how about tools? What would I buy and what would I wait to purchase until later? Well, let's talk about those, because this can ruin you financially if you're not careful. If I were starting in 2026, here's what I would not do. I would not buy a $20,000 toolbox, I would not finance everything, and I would not try to look like a pro. Looking like a pro does not pay the bills, especially when you're starting out. What I would buy first would be quality 3/8 inch and 1/2 inch drive socket sets, standard and metric, quality wrench sets in standard and metric as well, a reliable torque wrench, 3/8 inch drive and 1/2 inch drive, a good multimeter, basic hand tools such as screwdrivers, hammers, pry bars, chisels, punches, and pliers. That's it. Yes, that probably sounds like a few things because it is, but that is enough to get you started. But what about diagnostic tools or scan tools? If I were starting today, I'd learn the shop's OEM software, I'd understand how to read that data, and I'd focus on interpreting that data, not owning those tools. But another huge thing that matters more than most people realize is attitude. I'd ask lots of questions, but smart ones, not what do I do, but here's what I've checked, and here's what I've found so far, and what would you check next? This builds respect fast with the technicians who are teaching you. It shows them that you're trying rather than just expecting an answer handout with very little knowledge gained. I'd also own my mistakes immediately. This will serve you your whole career, even if you think it will hurt you in the short term. Because you see, everyone breaks stuff. The good techs admit it early, and the bad ones are the ones who hide that. Shops trust the techs who are honest and who dedicate themselves to learning from their mistakes. I'd also think long term from day one. Future diesel tech understands software, is starting to become comfortable with EVs and hybrids, and knows diagnostics deeply. It's part of the learning process. Diesel isn't dying, but it is changing. And the techs who survive aren't necessarily the strongest, but they are the most adaptable. So if I were starting out as a diesel technician in 2026, here's my final advice. Don't rush the process, learn electrical early, think diagnostically, buy tools slowly, and choose your shop wisely. This trade can give you stability, good money, and a skill that travels anywhere, but only if you approach it intentionally. And if you want to begin your journey of diesel knowledge, watch this video next.